Welcome to Storywise. I'm Eric. Today I'm going to be picking my August TBR using my randomized picker, my little spinny wheel of excitement, and something I wanted to share with you to bring you into the process for those who like it. I made a video before explaining why I do it, how I pick my books. I have this huge list of books, 150 I think currently, plus series that I want to read for one reason or another. Finding Reddit posts, looking at different YouTubers' recommendations, trying to read broad. What's the best horror book series? What's the best fantasy? What's the best lit fiction, historical, world books that you have to read by the time you die? And from that list, I don't know what I like, what I don't like, but this is how I'm going to figure it out. And this is what I've been doing every month this year. So without further ado, let's get into it and see what 4 titles I'm going to pick. Again, I might change that based on the page count of the book, and that might be 3, but actually, no, wait. What I'm going to do is this. I've been thinking about this. I'm going to do 4 regardless, and if I get a couple of months where there's these 1,200 page books and I can only get through 2 of them in a month, then I'm going to slow down. But if I get through 3 and I don't get through 4, then I'm going to roll over one of those books to the next month, and then I'll draw 3 the next month. I'll adjust it just to give myself a realistic chance at finishing the entirety of the TBR. I also have some books, the Legend of Driz series, that I'll throw in intermittently just for palate cleansers. I'm not going to spin for those because I'm just on a trajectory and I fit them in usually once a month just to keep that series going. So that's what I wanted to quick say before I switch to the old picker wheel. And I am going to spin it now and we'll see what comes of the spin. Okay. And the answer is To Kill a Mockingbird. Okay. To Kill a Mockingbird. That's exciting and nerve-wracking. Exciting because it's a classic, one I've never read. I don't know much about it. But the nerve-wracking part is most of the books that I've had that are classic novels like this, not all of them, but most of them have been a struggle recently. And I don't know if that's because my mindset is more into a fantasy, thriller place, but the pacing of some of these books that are classics are a bit slow. I liked Fahrenheit 451. I liked 1983. So it's not that I don't like any of these classic ones. Of course, those are more dystopian, and I like dystopian, so it makes sense. But the other books that I've read that aren't dystopian, they aren't thrillers. Even Strangers on a Train was a thriller, but I couldn't get into the flow of the reading, so that's why it makes me nervous. I'm excited, but nervous. So let's go to the next book. It is that, oops, I was supposed to hit remove there, so it doesn't happen again. Don't you love Control Find? It makes things so much easier. Bye-bye, Night. I don't want to delete that. The Night Circus. One of the people I follow was just talking about Night Circus being one that they couldn't finish, and they're going to be trying it again, but hey, it doesn't matter what it is. Some books are just like that. Not everything's going to work for everybody. So let's see what the next one is. And I don't know if I have any hopes or any dream books that would come up, but I'm excited every time. Book number 2 is going to be The Blue Fox. I love the screaming guy. Whoa! Yeah! The Blue Fox! Yeah! He's just always so excited regardless of what book is picked. It's crazy. He must be the one who made the list for me. The Blue Fox is a very intriguing concept, but not much. I haven't heard a lot about it. It was just on one of the lists that I found that, when I read the very basic description, it gave me some dystopian vibes, which is one of my favorite genres. I'm also Scandinavian by heritage, so if I'm not mistaken, it is Icelandic or somewhere in that kind of vein, Nordic, I should say, vein that I do enjoy. So I wanted to get exposed to some of that literature as well. So we'll see how that goes. But I'm excited this one popped up. Again, I haven't looked at any of the links of these books. To Kill a Mockingbird, I know isn't long. The Blue Fox, I think, is quite short as well. So even if I'm looking at this correctly, I could probably get away with maybe even adding a 5th book if this trend continues. I want to say that's like 128 pages, so that'll be a relatively fast read, I would say. So I'll consider it. I will consider doing a 5th pick if these books keep being short. Okay, back to it. Book number 3. What is it going to be? The Sword of Shannara trilogy. Online on Amazon, I have the trilogy in one book, so it's 1,200 pages. So if that's the case, then I think it's about 400 words per. So that's a fair volume. But I don't know anything about that. That was another one of those must-read fantasies and an author I haven't read, so I'm excited to expose myself to a new style of writing, a new author's voice. Well, hold on. I don't know when it was written, but I don't mean he's new. I just mean new to me. So take that with a grain of salt. Cool. So I'm going to get that. No, I don't want to remove that. Shoot. When it's a trilogy, I don't remove it from my list because I'm going to have that come up again because it's a trilogy and I'm reading one book. So I accidentally deleted that. But yeah, I'm excited for that. So that's book 3. Yes. So let's go back. Let's go back for another one. What am I going to read in August? Discworld collection. Exciting, yes. Nerve-wracking, indeed. I don't know why, but this is one of the ones that I didn't put on my list for a long time. And even though it was in every recommendation video it seemed like that I was watching, there's something about it that made me nervous. I don't know if it's because it's a huge, long series, but I just looked, the books are like, the first one's 272 pages, so it's not chunky books or anything, but there was like a block. There was something in the concept, and I don't remember what it was, that at first turned me off to it. And I don't know what it is, and I don't even know what shifted, but there's excitement and nerves, and I think that's cool. I think it's good because I go into something apprehensive, but I'm still open to it, and that has been a big foundational part of growth for me, is going in uncertain, but confident, and unafraid, but just like a little hesitant, but open. So that's a good thing, and I'm excited, more than nervous. But it's funny that sometimes things that you're like, oh, I'm not going to ever read that, make their way in. There's a few books series on my picker that were not originals, but have, after time has gone, I've said, okay, maybe I'm ready. And that's one of the keys, is going on, reading, and then you have a readiness level that you're more comfortable to jump into a bigger series, or eventually the Stormlight Archives, or something that has been intimidating where I'm like, absolutely not, never in my life will I do that. Well, right now I'm reading the Ship of Magic. By the time this video airs, it'll have been done, but that was scary because that was 880 pages, and that's the biggest one I've ever read. So finishing that, going from smaller books to bigger books, 400 pages feels a lot more accessible. Just like going from sprint triathlon to Ironman, now sprints don't seem nearly as bad, Olympics, and that they don't seem nearly as intense because I've done the big bad one, so you just are growing over time. And so that's why it's less scary now. And I think I'm more open to different series because they seem intense, but now I've understood that I can handle it. So it's less scary. Okay, let's go for one more. Here we go. And then I don't get to do this for a month. Here we go. What's it gonna be? Oh. Woo. Oh. Okay. Okay. East of Eden, another title that I avoided for a while, but was drawn into. I love mysticism. I love myth. I had a whole channel called My Modern Myth, which this used to be, and now it's something new, but that's still part of what drives me, is myth. And so with this East of Eden, I've never read a John Steinbeck, so that's another author I haven't really ever been drawn to, but I'm opening more, so it's going to be an experience that I'm excited about. Very excited. No, I am. I'm just nervous because it be that way sometimes. Oh my God. This is going to be an interesting month. August is going to be an interesting month of shaping my readership. That's not even a word I want to use for that. Okay. I just got a headache. Here's what I need. I need those of you who have read any of these books that I'm nervous about to give me some affirmation of reasons why you liked it and what I should be excited about. Not plot details, but it would just be good to hear that maybe some of you were nervous about some of these books, and as you got into them, you really enjoyed them, as well as those of you who liked them, and as well reasons why you didn't like it. It would be helpful for me because what I've learned through Robin Hobb, the Ship of Magic, was it was really slow at the start. And I looked online because I was like, oh my God, I don't know if I can do this. And then I found out when it picked up, what the payoffs are for the slow writing. And while I have my opinions that I'll get into in another video about that type of book, I would like to hear what your experiences have been with any of these books. And so I can go into it with like okay, so it's worth it, but you're going to have to deal with some slow moments, some exposition that goes on too long, some world building that maybe I don't need to know everything about the room, but here we go. In Ship of Magic, it said it's the character work that is really the payoff. And I agree 100%. After my time with the book so far, the characters have been one of the best. It's been one of the best displays of character-driven novels that I've ever read. So again, I'll get into that in a different video, but this is my list. And I am excited but overwhelmed to a degree, but in a new way. Last month I was overwhelmed because I was taking on an 880-page book for the first time in my life. I think 541 is the longest I've ever read. So that was a pretty big jump up, and I did it. Well, I haven't done it. And I'm going to do it because I have 200 pages or so left, and I'll finish that. But this video will come out after I finish it, so whatever. I grew, and August proves to be another month of growth. And though it's not because of the size of a book, it's just having a few titles come up that have been nerve-wracking ones for me where I've gone back and forth about including. When I go through that threshold, I will have grown again in confidence. So less on my list would be scary to me because I'll understand what it means to face titles that are intimidating. But would love to hear any of your thoughts on any of the books, your excitement for me to read one of the books, something I need to watch out for as I get into a book series, whatever you have for advice and support, I would be open to hearing it. Look forward to it. Thanks for stopping by. I'll see you in the next one. And until then, journey well, my friends.